Hey guys, um, just got back from a rather chilly ride. I think it's like 42 degrees, and I've had all the liners out of everything, so I'm just riding in nothing but mesh and a t-shirt, and so a bit chilly. And forgot to shut all the vents on my helmet because last day I rode was really warm, and so I got a little bit of brain freeze without the ice cream. Uh, anyway, just did some things on the KLR today, and wanted to go over them and whether I think they're any good or not. One, I think I mentioned in another video that I'd already purchased the Tusk longer shift lever, and I didn't know if 10 millimeters was going to make a big difference or not. When you line it up next to the original one, it looks more than 10 millimeters. It looks like a really sizable difference. Um, so I put that on, and I went for a ride just now with my adventure boots on because that was where my biggest problem was. Um, sorry, that was where my biggest problem was. Shifting before was with those boots, not my normal wear around the neighborhood combat boots. Uh, Not that I wear those around the neighborhood. I ride around the neighborhood in combat boots. I've got better taste than that. I promise. Uh, anyway, um, it's still a learning curve, even with that longer lever, longer shifter with the adventure boots on. So I'm just gonna have to work my way through that. The other thing I did is I got the tach. I'm gonna go ahead and switch the camera around here. Oops. So I got the tach. I don't know if you can see it right there, mounted right there. Um, it's well, there it is. You can see it now. Actually, when you're riding, you can see it pretty well in the daylight. One thing that occurred to me, or hadn't occurred to me, is that because it seems to be battery powered, it's just got the one lead going down to the coil down here, back in here. Um, it doesn't have a power lead or lead to a power source, so there's no illumination at night. So it's completely useless at night. And but it was interesting to see what I didn't even have a clue what the cruising RPM is. So cruising RPM, the comfortable RPM, seems to be right around 3,000 RPM, and anything over that, you feel like you want to shift. Even 3,200, 3,300, you're like, oh my goodness, I got to shift. It feels like it's really going higher than it is. Um, but I didn't get into anything faster. I just rode around town, so I didn't go any faster than about 50. Um, and so I didn't get to see what the RPM really is like on interstate speed. Or I don't tend to ride on interstates. I like two lane blacktop myself. Good movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I'm curious to see, even 50 or 60, 70 miles an hour, what that RPM turns into. Um, so, real curious about that. So, the other thing I did today was the front tire. I remember in the other video, I did the rear, did a test to see if I could use the front, or how far I could push the front with the new rear tire, and wasn't very far at all. So, I got the new front tire, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'd planned to get the Pirelli MT21. I'd gotten the Tusk Dsport for the rear, really liked it, but the reviews on their front were not good. Noise, wandering, all that kind of stuff. And so I was going to get the MT21 Pirelli because it had better reviews for as far as that. As soon as I went to go buy it, it was out of stock. I couldn't find it anywhere. And that's the story of my life. So I went back and got the Tusk Sport front because I've got a trip planned. This is, what day is it? Tuesday. I've got a trip planned for this weekend, going moto camping up in Pisgah again, going to different areas and try to find a little bit more aggressive trails since I now have tires that should be able to help me out there. So put the front and flip her around again. And you can see it's pretty aggressive if you haven't seen these before. But you can see that just about right here, I'm taking some twisties, doing about 45, 50 miles an hour on the asphalt, and that's as far as I'm leaning the bike, really. So I haven't gotten out here where I probably will this weekend when I'm headed up to the mountains. A lot more drastic turns up there, so I'm likely to see the chicken strips get smaller, because that's not very far that I'm leaning, doing 48, 50 miles an hour through S curves. Anyway, so as far as noise, yes, easy. 48 miles an hour is where I could finally start hearing the tires above the wind noise on my helmet. 50 miles an hour, it's pronounced. Again, I didn't go much over 50, so I can't tell you anything yet. I'll touch base on that this weekend when I'm headed up to the mountains doing 65 or so, on the 2 lanes up there. Anyway, they did wonder a little bit with the seams in the road and things like that, as to be expected. But I'm hypersensitive to it, so I don't want to be like, oh my God, these things are horrible, because I'm obviously paying really close attention to any kind of bobble or weave or anything that's different from a factory tire. And of course, these are going to be different than the factory tire. Any more aggressive tire is going to be different than the factory tire. So technically, anything but the factory tire will be different one way or the other from the factory. Yeah, I get that. You save the comments. But anyway, my ex-wife's voice in my head just anyway, with nitpick stuff like that. So I don't want to be too critical or make any really pronounced opinions on the tire just yet, because yes, with being hypersensitive to that change, there is a difference, but how much or how bad, hard to say yet. We'll know more this weekend. So looking forward to this weekend. I'll be shooting a lot of video. I'm getting a new camera. I won't be using my phone all the time like I am right now. It'll be here tomorrow. Amazon told me so. And a whole bunch of cool gadgets for doing better videos, hopefully. And then again, the point of this is just fun for me. I mean, you may not be watching it, but I'm making it. Doesn't matter. Hope you watch it. So we're going up to Pisgah. We're going to camp overnight. It's me and at least one other dude that I met on a Facebook group for dual sports in the area. Maybe another guy from the last ride joining us, depending on if he's going hunting or not. So could be 3 or 4 of us by the time it all is said and done. We might be going up to the OHV trails around Brown Mountain. We might be doing old Highway 105, doing some dispersed camping up there. We don't know. We're going to meet at AJ's Family Steakhouse, where I always like to, as a launching pad in Morganton, get their, they've got a buffet, and salad bars. Amazing. Really nice people. So stop there for lunch, probably about 11, and then head up and into the mountains. We're going to, concoct the battle plan right there at lunch, because we're all coming from different cities. So anyway, should be fun. Hope I can, with a new camera and stuff, put together some better video, and maybe one of these days I'll learn how to edit and do music, not over the whole video. And this new camera has a mic that goes in my helmet, not outside the helmet, so you'll hear more than wind noise. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the wind noise and my stupid comments and dad jokes. So just because your kids are growing out of the house, you still tell dad jokes, apparently. Anyway, I'm going to go in and crack open something alcoholic and sip on that and take a break. So, y'all have a good night.